So Maher's litter is 4 weeks old today. So they've already been eating meat for about a week. Baby mink start eating meat at 3 weeks old, just little bits at a time. But now that they're 4 weeks old, they're starting to get a little more serious about the meat. Milk is still a very important part of their diet. The vast majority of what they eat is milk, but they're getting more serious about the meat part of their diet at this point. At 4 weeks old, some of them have started to open their eyes, and others still have closed eyes. Most of them still have their eyes closed. You'll notice these little collars on them. That's just for identification, so that we could tell the difference between the babies. They've got different colors, so I know which baby's which, and I can start to get to know their personalities that way. So we're going to give them some muskrat legs here they can chew on, and you'll get to see how serious they are about meat at this point. So as you can see, these little babies have turned into some pretty serious carnivores. You know, they're little teeny babies, they can't see, they can barely walk, and yet here they are vigorously devouring raw meat. And as you notice, their neck and their jaw muscles are actually more developed than their leg muscles. So they can chew and tear and twist and shake long before they can really walk, which is pretty interesting. When you look at puppies or kittens, they develop the opposite. Their legs develop before their jaw muscles and their neck muscles. But baby mink, it's the other way around, because they need to start eating meat at a much younger age and actually devouring meat before they can walk. They get their jaw and neck muscles more developed than a canine or a cat would. And it makes sense, especially in the case of canines, because canines actually regurgitate pre-chewed food for their babies. So it's a lot easier for their babies even when they start eating meat, because the food's already chewed up for them. A mama mink, the most they do for their babies is they split the carcass open so they can get access to the meat. And other than that, the babies have got to devour it themselves through chewing and twisting, just like this. They've got to break off their own chunks of meat and chew it up by themselves. They don't get the advantage of a pre-chewed meal like a canine would in nature. Now you might be wondering why I'm giving them a leg rather than the ground meat. And I actually was giving them the ground meat before, but it seemed to me that they kind of ate it a little too quickly, a little too easily, and they'd get a bit of a bellyache. So I thought I'd experiment by giving them whole legs just like they would get in nature. Like I mentioned, the mom doesn't give them ground meat, the mom gives them whole carcasses to gnaw on. So I'm going to try that and see if it helps prevent kind of the little bellyaches they're getting, which the bellyaches are normal on the mink farm. The farmers tell me it's pretty common for the babies to get a little bit sick when they first start eating the food. So I'm trying this experiment to see if this helps prevent it by giving them the more natural method where they've got to work at it and chew it up like a wild mink would. And we'll see if this helps at all or makes a difference. I don't know that it will or it won't. We'll just have to see. One thing for sure, they're definitely getting more of a workout eating it this way. Look at him pick that up and shake it with his little neck. And with the different colored collars on, I can now start to identify different personality traits. You know, I'm noticing that little yellow mink here, she's a pretty voracious eater. She's grabbing things and shaking it, really into it. Whereas this little one over here, you know, she's not as into it. She's just kind of hanging out. So it helps me to start to kind of get to know their personalities day by day, because I can actually identify the different mink. It'll help me to decide which one I want to keep in the end for my own personal mink.